Exclusive coverage of the 1991 NBA Draft, presented by Miller Genuine Draft, live from Madison Square Garden in New York. And the 1991 NBA Draft has moved to the big arena here at Madison Square Garden. More than 7,000 fans will be here to cheer and or boo the draft choices of their favorite teams. About 6:15 tonight, there's Luke Longley. Luke Longley out of Australia, as 15 of the top players arrived at Madison Square Garden, and they will be here, and we will be meeting them and interviewing them as they are selected tonight to begin what they hope will be spectacular careers in the NBA, and there will be some rich young men by 11:30 tonight. I'm Bob Neal. It's our 7th consecutive year to cover the NBA Draft. And now with a welcome to those fans and our television audience, here's the Commissioner of the National Basketball Association, David Stern.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. To NBA fans here at Madison Square Garden in New York, to those gathered at our team draft headquarters across the country, to our national television audience on TNT, and to our audience on the NBA radio network, welcome to the 1991 NBA Draft. All of the NBA team representatives have been briefed on the draft procedures. So let's get started. The first selection in the 1991 NBA Draft will be made by the Charlotte Hornets.
So the welcome from Commissioner David Stern. You could hear in the background the nearly 8,000 fans. Now, Stern.
With the first pick in the 1991 NBA Draft, the Charlotte Hornets select Larry Johnson from University of Nevada, Las Vegas.
Larry Johnson from UNLV. He says these are his words about himself. I can score from 8 or 9 feet in. I can rebound. I can defend the post. A lot of people have talked about his size, listed at 6'7" throughout his collegiate career. Larry Johnson at the Chicago camp measured in his socks at 6'5½". But remember, another player who went high in the draft, he wasn't number 1, but Charles Barkley, who was always 6'6". They measure him at 6'4½", and Charles Barkley, of course, has played bigger than that. So here is Larry Johnson, the number 1 player selected in the draft of 1991.
You know, Bob, I think another thing that Larry Johnson brings to the Charlotte Hornets is this kid is a winner. And I don't think you can take away from the fact that wherever he's been, his teams have won, and they've won big. They've won an NCAA championship. And I think that when you take an expansion team, you need to bring a kid in with that kind of attitude.
You need some help up front. He's been able to rebound at the high school level, JUCO, and then at Vegas. And you just cannot believe that because of his great work ethic, that he's not going to get the job done, because you're talking about an individual with a 250-pound plus frame. You know that he can move people out.
6% body fat is the term I hear also. This man is chiseled out of granite. You see his 90-91 figures at UNLV, and we look at some of his play at UNLV, but now this is history. Now we've got to see him perform in the big time.
But you know what, also, too, I think you have to factor in here is he played on a team with great talent. So he's played in a team concept before, which I think is very, very important, because as you build an NBA team, the better the players get, you have to be a part of the whole program. And I also think that he's going to be able to do that very well.
Well, if they play him at the power position, because of his skills off the dribble, and the fact that he can make the jump shot out, even out to 20 feet, he is going to create a problem for big players at that 6'10" to 7 foot in guarding him.
Now, talking about him personally, here is a young man from Dallas, Texas, who grew up, as someone said, it's as though the worst parts of the ghettos in America had moved to the neighborhood he grew up in. He had to battle his way out of there to go to college. Now his dream is about to come true. He's going to sign for millions of dollars and is going to have his opportunity in the NBA. So that personal side of the story is also something sometime we overlook. We just think of him as a big-time player at UNLV, but this is really a personal dream come true also for Larry Johnson.
Bob, I had an opportunity 2 years ago to go to UNLV practices and watch this team prepare. Larry Johnson's a kid that comes to work and play every day. And I think that UB knows, being a former coach, you'd like to be able to hang your hat on a guy that's going to give you 82 good nights a year, not 40 or 41.
We're going to get to meet Larry Johnson personally now. He's with Craig Sager.
Well, thank you, Bob. The #1 pick in the draft, but watching you in the green room and the anticipation, looks like you're pretty relieved.
Very relieved. You know, it was a pretty good wait, and you know, I had a pretty good time, and the players was back confident in me, and I just like to thank God and my family and the players that I play with.
You're the player of the year in high school, the player of the year in junior college, the player of the year NCAA. Makes it all sound easy, but it must have been a lot of hard work, especially coming from South Dallas.
Yes, it was real hard work, but you know, I had some great guidance along the way. You know, my family, my mother, the coaches I had, and you know, I just had a great time, and you know, it's been fun. It's been a pretty tough struggle, but I made it.
So what are you going to do for the Charlotte Hornets?
Well, I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna basically offer the Charlotte Hornets that I offered, you know, the previous teams I played on. You know, hard work. I'm going in doing whatever the coach asked me to do, whatever my teammates need me to do, and you know, just try to win.
Well, congratulations. Also, congratulations to Alan Bristol, because he got the man he wants.
Okay, and now Charlotte. Alan Bristow is standing by at the Charlotte Coliseum, where there was a big cheer went up when Larry Johnson was the #1 selection. And Alan, thank you for joining us. Tell us your thinking, your organization thinking on making the selection of Larry Johnson.
Well, certainly it's been a terrific month, and you know, with the selection of Larry Johnson, we feel like not only we've got a quality player, but a very competitive, tough guy, which we felt was a difference in probably the rest of the players that we brought in.
Alan, when I talked to you on the phone the other day, you told me with that first pick you wanted to draft a stinger. Well, tell me what a stinger is in your estimation.
Larry Johnson is a stinger, Doug. He's the kind of player that he, along with, say, Kendall Gill or Rex Chapman, J.R. Reed, some of the young players that we have, we feel like that Larry Johnson is going to fit right in, and we're going to mold our team around our young players, and certainly Larry Johnson is going to be a big part of that.
Okay, Alan Bristow, a question from me. There's been stories in the press prior to this #1 selection about whether or not you or Gene Littles really agreed on Billy Owens, Larry Johnson, Dikembe Mutombo. Set us straight on what your organization thinking was and the unification of your organization on this #1 pick.
Well, we all felt that all the candidates were very good players. Certainly, we'd all like to be united in one, and we feel like we are now, and that Larry Johnson's going to demonstrate in a Hornet uniform that he is going to be the best player in this draft.
Congratulations to you, Alan Bristow. We hope to talk to you a little bit later in the draft. I know the folks are excited there in Charlotte, and we'll be.
With the 9th pick in the 1991 NBA draft, the Atlanta Hawks select Stacey Augmon from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas.
Well, there you go. And as we talked before, Stacey Augmon may only be an Atlanta Hawk for a short amount of time. Of course, we always need to bring up here that when you draft a player of Stacey Augmon's abilities, and they are very strong, he's a 6'8", 200-pound quick forward. He plays some pretty good defense too. What that also gives the Hawks is an opportunity to not only necessarily maybe trade Augmon, but maybe one of the other forwards.
It opens up a lot of things, and the reason he's an unpopular choice right now in New York is because the Knicks fans were hoping that he would be there available for New York, and I know that
number 12.
There was a lot of things that New York was trying to do, maybe with Orlando, maybe to switch 10 and 12 to get Stacey Augmon at 10. Orlando feeling they could still get their guy at 12. So this, I think, really upsets the apple cart, so to speak, here in New York.
Now, to set up Stacey Augmon for you a little bit, if you're not completely familiar and don't remember his play at UNLV, a lot of people say he is a Dennis Rodman type forward defender, strong on defense, maybe a little bit better offensive threat than Dennis Rodman is, but certainly that type, maybe Rodman a little tougher, Augmon a little more balanced. Would you agree with that, Hubie?
Yeah, well, what has happened over the past year, he has improved his outside shot. So facing the basket, he is not only now a finisher on the fast break and a slasher off the dribble, but now he has added the perimeter game. And in NBA basketball, that's true. He does not have the weight, and he does not have that upper body strength or size of a Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman is 6'9" and legitimate.
Perhaps maybe a little bit more in a Michael Cooper mold, if you wanted to think of him like that. Augmon now with Craig Sager.
Well, thank you, Bob. Stacey, your biggest hug was from Larry Johnson, your former teammate who's now with Charlotte, yet we're hearing rumors you may go to Charlotte. Where do you want to play?
I'm happy right here in Atlanta, you know. I'm happy. Even I'm happy for Larry, for him, you know, whatever he does. I mean, it doesn't matter where I'm at, but I'm happy in Atlanta right now.
Some speculation a year ago you're going to come out early. You stayed for your senior year. Why and what did you learn after staying for that extra season?
Well, I stayed because, you know, we all decided at one time that we all want to come home. and we all want to be together at one time. You know, we all want to get our degree, and we stuck together. We stuck with Coach Tartt, you know, which we really think fond of. It was great experience. We had a great senior year.
Well, 2 UNLV players have gone early, and there may be more. Bob?
With the 12th pick in the 1991 NBA draft, the New York Knicks select Greg Anthony from the University of Nevada at Las Vegas.
So for the first time in the history of the NBA draft, 3 players from one college team have gone in the top 12. Larry Johnson, Stacey Augmon, and now Greg Anthony. Greg Anthony is a 6 foot tall, 6 foot 1/2 inch guard. He is 183 pounds. Played high school basketball at Rancho in Las Vegas, Nevada. He's 23 years old and a well-rounded young man. Vice chairman of the Nevada Young Republicans, an aide at the World Economic Summit, a political science major, and a former congressional aide. I might see him being active in the NBA Players Association very quickly.
Now, this is a young man who has been surrounded with an awful lot of talent at UNLV, and he's had to keep a lot of guys happy out there. Anderson Hunt and Larry Johnson and Ackles and Stacey Augmon. And the one thing I think just remember about him is when he fouled out in the Final Four game against Duke, the team fell apart and they could not